to the studio. And I certainly feel like I never ever left the studio. I mean, who am I kidding? I spend most of my time back here. I actually just got done filming what did I film? My throwback? No, my paper pumpkin. I gotta think. I just did this. So the July paper pumpkin kit, Sweeter with You, I actually just got done filming that. If you are familiar with that kit, there's actually 8 cards that you make rather than 9. So I decided to create all the cards instead of just one of each. So that video went a little bit longer than need be, but that one was posted pretty much after I got done with all my video content. So that's out there Monday evening. Then I just got done doing my Throwback Thursday video. That one actually was scheduled to post yesterday at 5 a.m. Central Time. With that one, I featured the Around It All, the stamp set and the set of dies. At the time when I recorded it, again being Monday, they are still available. If they were available at that point, they're not showing that they're on low inventory, but it's still available. And I did, when I did it, added the product in my with the description of my video. I did do it as separate components, the stamp set and then the set of dies, because individually they have been discounted, so you save um, quite a bit as opposed to just the 10% off of the bundle. So I don't know if it's still available at the time that you would be watching this and when I've posted this. But that's what I just got done doing. And now this video, this is my monthly Christmas card inspiration. So a little background on this is that one of the things that I've wanted to do, and when I really got into the mode of, really like wanting to build this as a business, because I have been a demonstrator since October of 2013, uh, doing a monthly Christmas card club. So the plan was to do an in-person event with this, where I have all these stamp sets along with the dies and the punches and all that. And anybody who was local to me who had a desire to create their Christmas cards throughout the year, like say February through November, and then have a whole stash of cards ready to go to be, signed and addressed and all that right after Thanksgiving or whenever you would normally mail them. This kind of, gave you that time that you can do it throughout, throughout the year. Unfortunately, there wasn't a whole lot of interest, as far as in person goes. But when I was thinking about it, I also wanted to make this available to, in some way, uh, online, here on my YouTube channel. And so I have had some wonderful feedback in regards to doing this. So the products that I use for the monthly Christmas card inspiration, it's a combination, everything may be retired. Some may be retired, and I've mixed in some current stuff with it, or for the most part, it's all current. So what I am using in this particular video is basically everything that I am using is still available except for one item, and that's the designer series paper, which in that case, you can substitute whatever paper that you may have for your projects. So what I am working with, let me see, let me grab one thing here. Um, so not too long ago, in our online exclusives, There was a bundle that Stampin' Up! Came out. It's the Sweet Jar bundle. So you have the photopolymer stamp set. So it kind of covers like birthday, like Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day. And this could be like cookies. This could be candy, and then you got your jar. Then there's the coordinating sweet jar builder punch. And so this came out, and then I think at the same time, or maybe just a little bit, maybe a little bit after, the next time they had more online exclusive items come out. Yeah, actually, it was later that this came out. And they came out with the Jar of Joy stamp set that coordinates with this punch as well. So this is what I am going to be using in this monthly Christmas card inspiration. So of course this is still available. I don't think this is going to go anywhere before the end of the year, because being that it is a Christmas themed stamp set that this is going to be around for a bit. I believe that it's available. I don't think it's I'll take a really quick peek, but I do not think it is um hold on. What am I looking for? I do not think it is on low inventory, or it's on back order. So let me take a peek here. I don't think it is. Let's see. Do, 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 do. Um, I'm even checking too with the punch. It doesn't look like. Yeah, it's not looking like. Yeah, none of, so whether it's the Sweet Jar stamp set, the Jar of Joy stamp set, the punch, all of them are available. They're not on low inventory. So again, you can get the 10% bundle savings of the punch and the Sweet Jar stamp set. And then there's this add-on of the Jar of Joy that will coordinate with it as well. But we are not going to use the Sweet Jar in this one. We're just going to use the Jar of Joy. So let me kind of get that out of the way since we're not using it. And let me set this stuff aside. The cards that I made, I think came out really, really super cute. So let me bring in the pieces. And I think that Real Red and Crumb Cake, they definitely do go very well together. Uh, this card, the inspiration for this card, I found it. So I found the card out on Pinterest. I go out on Pinterest and I get a lot of inspiration from there. And if you remember, if you're familiar with Stampin' Up, if you remember a few years ago, there was a suite of product. I don't know if I want to call it candy cane season or candy cane something, but it had a lot of red and crumb cake in it. So I kind of like saw a card that was made using those products from back in like 2016, and I kind of changed it up using more current stuff. And again, the only thing that I'm using that is no longer available is the designer series paper. And the paper that I'm using, it's called Take a Bow designer series paper. So there's 48 sheets in here. So with this pack of paper, you got like 12, do I say it's 12 double-sided designs. So you had quite a few sheets of each pattern. This wasn't standalone. This actually coordinated, and it was bundled with the Take a Bow die. So the die, that's no longer available either. That's gone. But that die actually was like the size of a 6x6 sheet of paper, and you would die cut it twice, and it did these strips to where you can make gift bows with it. So this is the paper that I'm using now. The packaging that I'm using, these are 7x7 Ziploc bags that I did get off of Amazon. I found instead of like that, the flimsy cellophane, once you open up the package, you know, you'd have pieces falling out and all that. So I decided to get Ziploc bags to kind of put my paper in. And this is actually, this is more than one pack. This is one full pack. And then probably I would say maybe half, maybe a little bit more of an open pack that I had. So I just take the back cardboard that's got all the info, put that in there. And then I have all my info. And everything's contained. I don't have to worry about anything falling out unless this is in Ziploc. I also got 13x13 sized Ziploc bags to contain like my 12x12 designer series paper. One of the things I don't know the rationale around it, but sometimes the packets are the packets that you can reseal, and then sometimes it's the shrink wrap cellophane that once you cut it, then it's open, you can't close it. So I don't know why some paper is like that and why some aren't, but yeah, so this is how I'm storing my paper. I know my shelf here on my Calyx unit, it starts to like, I don't know if because there's a little bit of air in the bag, but yeah, I got to figure out how to store my paper on this so it all fits on there. I may have to shift and turn that insert to go the other way. We'll see what happens. I got to work on it. Okay, so my pieces here. I got a piece of real red. This is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4.25. I have a piece of crumb cake. This measures 5.25 by 4. Ahead of time, I did emboss it using the Forever Plaid 3D embossing folder. Now, this folder was part of a suite in our last holiday mini catalog. This is the one that, again, to remember the names of things, this is the one that coordinated, and it was part of the suite that had the reindeer on it. So this is carried over. This is in our current catalog, so it's still available. So again, I embossed my crumb cake with this ahead of time. Then I have a piece of real red, another piece of real red. This measures 4 by 2.75. A piece of that Take a Bow designer series paper. This measures 3.75 by 2.5. Then I have a strip of basic white that measures 3.75 by 1/2 inch. I'm going to stamp my greeting on that. And then, actually, there's something missing. Hold on. There's something missing. And I know that I put that little piece in here. Oh, there it is. Excuse me. Um, then I have a scrap piece of real red. I'm going to punch out my jar lid in red. And then I have a scrap piece of basic white. Then I'm going to stamp my jar on, and then I'm going to punch that out. So I didn't do that part ahead of time. All right, so let me take my card base and let me fold and burnish that. And then I'm going to add like all of my layers onto this. So I'll add that crumb cake, and then I will adhere that designer series paper to that piece of real red. And then I'll place that on there as well. So I want my seal. Now with the seal, I mean, it sticks pretty well. When you are adding adhesive, using this adhesive anyway, and especially the Seal Plus, when you use it on embossed cardstock, you do want to not be really hard on pressing down on this, because of the stickiness of the adhesive, it will tear the cardstock, especially when it's been embossed. So you just want to have a light touch with that seal. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to center this on my card base like so. And then I'm going to take my designer series paper and we'll put this on that piece of real red. So I was asked by one of the wonderful ladies that follows me and is always on my Friday night lives, um, if I was doing like a Christmas in July type of thing. Now I know there's a lot of demonstrators that do a Christmas in July. I could, however, um, I have so much on my plate right now that I just probably couldn't, take on more extra stuff and try to get everything done, because sometimes, I got things done ahead of time. Like, for example, this will be done ahead of time. But then sometimes I'm not ahead, and I'm doing stuff like the night before something's supposed to be posted. And sometimes maybe something doesn't get posted until like later on that day. So to do Christmas stuff in July, I know that, okay, I do this monthly Christmas card inspiration. So at least that there's one a month. However, as soon as that holiday catalog comes out, I typically like to wait until like maybe just before Thanksgiving before I start doing Christmas, because I love fall. And so I'm definitely going to be doing videos that are going to, have a fall theme. And then when it comes to Halloween, we don't have a whole lot that's Halloween, but the little bit we do have, I'm going to do that. So really, once I start with the Christmas, it's like it's going to be like every Friday and probably every Thursday when you start thinking about, November and December. So I didn't want to get burned out on it. So let me bring my video back up, because evidently I had my screensaver decided it wanted to kick on because I wasn't on the video. All right, so on my greeting here, my greeting piece here, I am going to use Sending a Jar Full of Cheer. So I'm going to pull that one out. Let me take this off. So I want Sending a Jar Full of Cheer. Then there are these two builder pieces for uh, like the cookies that are going to go into that jar. And then I have the outline of the jar itself. And I think that is all I need on this one. So let me get my stamps here, kind of move that stuff out of the way. And we'll put that on there. And then on these three pieces, let's see, we got our jar. And then we got that. And then we got this piece right here. Okay. So let's see, what do we want to do first? We want to do our greeting. So the colors of ink that I'm going to use on this card is Real Red, Early Espresso, and Crumb Cake. So I'm going to take the Early Espresso and I'm going to get my greeting. I'll ink that up. And I will stamp that right in the middle. Like so. And I will set that aside, let that dry before I adhere that. Let me get my scrap piece here. And I'm going to ink up my jar. And I will stamp that right down this bottom corner. Okay. Okay, and then let's see, next I am going to, ooh, what do I want to stamp next? I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to stamp my my crumb cake first. So the crumb cake is going to be the image that you see more of, kind of like your filler one, so that you can see the whole gingerbread man. So I'm going to ink this up first, and I'm going to stamp that right within my jar like so. Okay, and then I will take, actually I don't need the real red ink on this one. You know what, I don't need the real red ink at all on this one. I don't know why I didn't just put that away. Okay, so that takes care of that. Then let me bring back in early espresso, and then kind of like this detailed stamp, I'm going to ink this up. And then it's pretty easy to line this up. Look at the bow tie and the dots for the buttons on the gingerbread man, and the rest of it pretty much kind of like lines up. You got the little heart, you got if you line up like that little bow tie and the dots for his buttons, this will line up pretty well, like so. Okay, so now let me get that out of the way. Our stamping is done. And let me kind of get these ink pads out of the way. All right, and then I will bring in my punch and our little scrap of real red. I am going to punch out my jar topper, and then we will line up our jar. This is a very cute bundle, I will say that. I haven't played with uh, the other stamp set yet with this punch, and I can tell you I really like it. Alright, so that's a scrap piece. We'll just put that aside. And we don't need this topper. You can keep the topper, but or you can get rid of it, one of the two. Okay, so there's our jar. Let me get my silicone craft sheet. I'm going to take a little bit of liquid glue and I'm going to put it right on the top here of my jar. I don't need much. And then I'm going to place my jar lid on here, and I'm going to line it up just above that line for the top of the jar. And I'll move this down just a little bit so it's a little more even. And then we'll press that down. Like so. Okay, and then on the back of this, I'm going to add some dimensionals. And where's my dimensionals? I will take two and I'll kind of reinforce that lid to the rest of the jar so it won't go nowhere. So I'll put two there, two on the bottom, and then in the middle, so that way it's not all saggy. So I'll take that, put that aside. Then I will take my greeting piece here, and since I got the glue open and it's sitting right there, I will take my greeting. Now this is going to line up with that designer series paper. That is straight, right? Can't tell if I got that straight or not. Okay, so we'll close that up. And then we'll take our jar here. Get these paper backings off. That's crazy, recording 3 videos back to back. I mean, I got like everything written up on it, but now I'm going to have to take all the pictures so I can create my thumbnails for all the videos before I have them out there and scheduled. Okay, so then I'm going to take my jar and I'm going to kind of line it up about here, like just over my greeting a little bit so you can still see some of that paper behind it. Then for my embellishments on here, these were part of, as a matter of fact, I think these were part of that reindeer suite as well. So these are the Real Red and White adhesive back peppermints and the Real Red and White Baker's Twine. Both of these are currently now in the online exclusives, and they are not on the last chance list, and I don't think they're going to be now that Christmas is coming up. I mean, these embellishments, I will tell you, were really, really popular last holiday season because they kept on selling out and they kept going out on back order. So I'm glad that these are still around. These are like so cute. They're like very thin, do I want to say almost like a rubbery clay type of feel. They're not very thick, so they're great for you're mailing your cards. They don't add a lot of bulk. So let me add those. I'm going to add those first because we're going to also add a bow to our jar. So in these peppermints, there are 3 sizes. And I'm going to take these and I'm going to just kind of cluster them over here. Add one of each size to that. Okay, and then let's get our twine and we're going to create a little bow and we're going to add that to the top. We're going to add that to our jar lid. So, tie my bow. Try and tie my bow. Okay, and then let's make these loops a little bit smaller. Okay, and then I'm going to bring in my glue dots. And I'll get my snips that I have specifically for cutting ribbon and twine with. Now our snips, yes, they are now gone. The reason why, if you didn't know, was because the manufacturer who was making the snips for Stampin' Up! Is no longer making them. I don't know if the company went out of business or not, but they're not making them anymore. So Stampin' Up! Had mentioned that once their stock of the snips were depleted, that you could, if you try putting the number in or if you go to search for it, it's not going to come up. They said that they are going to try and find another manufacturer. Now, it's a paper crafting company, so you know that they're going to come out with something, but it's just a matter of when. I don't think it'll take too long, but they didn't give us like a definitive date as to when that's going to be, but I don't think it's going to be that long. That's just my opinion. Okay, so I'm just going to make that a little bit smaller, but there we go. So there is our first card. I really do love the crumb cake red, real red, and that early espresso together. It's just a really fun looking card. I really like that. And again, this is pretty easy to line up as well. So there is our first card. So now let me bring in the stuff for our second card. So this one, I even like this one too. So we're bringing in some of the new in colors that we have this year. And they happen to be two of my favorite colors out of those new colors. I mean, I like them all, but I am one, purple is my absolute favorite number one color, but then blues and aquas are a very, very, very close second. So I would say that this color here, Secret Sea, uh, I want to say it's like night and navy, but maybe a little bit of pretty peacock, in my opinion, was added to it. And that's kind of like how I see Secret Sea. So I have this for my card base. So it's 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4.25. And then cloud cover is I like this color as well. Now with cloud cover, if you didn't know, cloud cover, there, as far as the full size ink pad goes, uh, there was like a quality issue. So what they were saying, it was like do I want to say chemical type of reaction of the ink it when it was in contact with the foam pad. So what would happen if you went to ink with it? Now, when you look at cloud cover, it's not gray. It's a bluish gray, but you can definitely see the blue in it. When with the regular size ink pad, when you would stamp with it, it would be, the color would be a more like smoky slate, so more on the gray side. So as far as like the bundles of the ink pads for the newer in colors, they're not offering that bundle pricing because the full size ink pad, whatever they had in stock, they did offer it to Stampin' Up! Demonstrators to purchase, but letting everyone know that that maybe it will ink right, maybe it won't. So it was going to be something that, they weren't going to offer a refund on it if, you weren't happy with it. So as of right now, so it was something they weren't going to make available to customers. However, I do see that it is listed in the last chance list of products. The price of it is $9. Now again, there's no refund if you decide to purchase it. There is no refund on this. It's an as is type of thing. They did say that, when they had their on stage or convention, what was it well, back in November, or was it March? I can't remember now when on stage was. I wasn't there. But they said that some demonstrators actually liked the color that it produced. So what Stampin' Up! Had suggested in this particular case is that everything else is fine. So the re-inker's fine, the Stampin' Right marker is fine, the Stampin' Blends markers are fine. Of course, the cardstock's fine. But if you want to have like that true cloud cover, ink color, one of the things that they did suggest, now in the annual catalog, there is a set of 5 of these little ink spots. Each set, there's 2 different sets. One of them does have cloud cover in it. I believe the other one has Darling Duckling in it. So as far as cloud cover goes, you could purchase that 5 pack. It is in the annual catalog. Or you can take one of the uninked stamp spots. I believe that do I want to say that there's probably 5 of these in a package? So it's a little square felt pad. These are the same little spots that you would find in the paper pumpkin kits. And so it's a empty felt pad. Just take your re-inker and re-ink the little pad in here, and then it should be fine, and you should have your cloud cover, your true color that matches the cardstock. So that's what I have here in this ink spot right here. Now in the description, as far as the supplies go, I did, instead of the full-size ink pad, I did not link that in the description. I did link the uninked spots and also the cloud cover re-inker. Um, if you want to try that, like I said, when I did a test try on it, the full size ink pad. It's just that the re-inker and the foam pad itself, that's what's causing it not to give you the actual true cloud cover color. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there about that the ink. The full-size ink pad, more or less, for cloud cover. And like I said, the refill, the markers, of course, the cardstock, all of that, the rest of that's fine. It's just that full size ink pad. So for my cloud cover piece, with that being said, so I had cut my piece of cloud cover at 5.5 by 4. Okay, so 5.5 by 4. I then had embossed it using the mini corrugated 3D embossing folder. What was this part of? This is part of a suite. Yes, this is part of the texture. Oh, what is it called? Textured Elements, I think. It's a suite that's in the online exclusives. There's one pack of pattern paper that looks like, how do I want to describe it? Like wicker, straw, burlap, kind of like your textile type of designs. And then there's another pack of paper that's more of a floral design, but it's all in black and white. And then it has those really cool rectangular dies that have the different designs around the border. So instead of being stitched, it's, there's like little dash marks and things like that. So this embossing folder is part of that suite. So you can emboss one or two ways. So you can have it go this way, you can have it go this way. So whichever way this way is going to go. So if I were to emboss my cardstock this way, where my stripes are going up and down, what I would want to do is going across here, I would want this to be wider. So I would have cut this at, let's see, 4.25, okay? Because what happens when you emboss with this folder, as you can see, it's corrugated. So when it's in this direction, so when I go to emboss it, what it's going to do is it's going to kind of like shrink it a little bit in this direction, not like from this side to this side, but from the top and bottom. So what I do is I take a larger piece, put it into my embossing folder, run it through, and then I will go and I use a guillotine paper cutter, and then I cut it down to the size that I need. So also after embossing it, I have cut it down to 5.25, and it's still at 4 inches this way. So I wanted to give you that little tip when you use this corrugated embossing folder, that if your ridges are going this way, going horizontal, you want to make your paper a little bit longer this way. This way, it'll be okay. But then if you were turning it and you were going to do it the long way, where the corrugation is going up and down, you want to then have your paper be a little bit wider, because once you run it through, it's going to kind of shrink it in a little bit. So it's better to cut it a little bit bigger, run it through, and then trim it down to the size that you need. Okay. All of that just for that, right? Then with the Stylish Shapes dies, again, this is something that's still available. I don't know if it's actually in the catalog or in the online exclusives, but these are definitely still available. So I had die cut one of the circles in Secret Sea, and then I die cut one a little bit smaller, and this is Smoky Slate. So you can definitely tell the difference between Cloud Cover and Smoky Slate. Like I was mentioning, the full-size ink pad of Cloud Cover, it would end up stamping more of this color rather than having that bluish tone in it. Okay, and then I have a scrap piece of basic white. This is going to be for our jar. And then our scrap piece of Cloud Cover, that's going to be the jar cover. Okay, so let me fold and burnish my card base. And where's my bone folder? And then I'm going to add my embossed cloud cover. So what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to add my adhesive directly to my card base. Now, I don't want to go really close to the edge because there is going to be that slight border that is going to be around all four sides. So I want to kind of make sure that I don't have any adhesive showing. So I'm just going to add a little bit here to hold it down. Come on. Like so. Okay, and then I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to add that right on top. Because when you add adhesive directly, like using your seal anyway, directly on a piece that you embossed, what it'll do is it'll kind of crush your embossing. So it's better to put it on the card base itself. And again, you don't go really close to the edge. So then that way, when you put it down, you won't see it. So there's that. Okay, then we're going to do some stamping. So I'm going to leave that Secret Sea circle right there. We're going to punch that out, but we'll wait till we do our jar. So for this one, I'm going to use Lost Lagoon, so it's a little bit of a different blue-green that we're going to have in this. And then I have my Secret Sea ink. And I need to go back to the video because my screensaver decided to pop in because I wasn't on that screen. All right. So let me get my Pierce mat here. And yeah, we need to clean those stamps first because there's still that ink on there. We don't want that color ink mixing with the Secret Sea. And we're going to need one of these blocks anyway to do our greeting. So we got that cleaned. This is definitely a stamp set that I am going to be playing with a lot more, especially I think a lot of my Christmas cards are definitely I'm going to use this set because I really do like it. So let me get these stamps kind of taken off here so I have. And then for this one, the greeting I'm going to use on this one, wishing you the sweetest Christmas. Okay, so let me get my blocks here. And then, of course, I didn't take out the other one I need. This time we're going to use the snowman. And then there's this other element right here that this will stamp the band on his hat and also the scarf on him. And then we also want the little bit of the snow right there too. So let's pull these out. And then there's another stamp too that you can stamp in there, and it's the one here with the ornaments. Now there's no filler for this one, it's just that stamp. All right, so let's get a couple of little blocks here. And that's our snow. We got that. And then we got our snowman. All right, I think we're ready to roll. Okay, so let's get our Secret Sea ink. And we're going to stamp our jar. And we're going to put that right there. And then we want our snowman. And we are going to stamp him right there. Okay, and then let's see what's next. We'll set that aside. We're going to get our Smoky Slate die cut here and our greeting. And we'll ink that up in Secret Sea as well. And I'm going to stamp this kind of like towards the bottom here. Like so. Okay, and we'll set that aside. Okay, so then for the rest of our snowman, we'll close this up. We're done with this color. I am going to bring in Lost Lagoon and the scarf. And again, this one stamp does the scarf and the hat band. And kind of line up hat band. There we go. So there, one stamp and the scarf and the hat are done. Okay, and then we'll close this up. And this little ink spot that I have here for my cloud cover, we're going to add some snow to the inside of my jar here. Okay, so there is our snow. And we'll close this up. And then for his carrot nose, I'm going to use my Timid Tiger Stampin' Right marker. So the markers, you cannot buy these individual. Being that this is an in color, you do buy it as a 5-pack. So it's got all of the in colors that are for this year, and I think even into next year. And so I didn't feel that I needed to use the what do you call it, the Stampin' Blend, because his nose is very, very tiny. So I'm going to use the brush tip, since this is like a finer tip than what's on the Stampin' Blend. And I'm just going to lightly come in and do his nose, since it's so tiny. Okay, now we can punch it out and assemble our card. So we'll get this out of the way. Get our punch and line this up. I'm going to kind of bring it down and leave a bit of a lip up at the top, so there's some space there to glue that lid onto it. Whoa, that was kind of loud. All right, let's put that aside. Okay, where is... Oh no, it wasn't big. The piece wasn't big enough for there to... Oh, what am I doing that for? I need to do my lid. Okay, So we're done with the punch now. All right, so let's get our silicone craft sheet and get our glue. And just add a little bit. And then we'll get our lid. And again, I'm lining it up to where you do see the top. You do see that that stamped top part of the jar. Okay, so there is a little too much glue there, so just kind of press it on my silicone sheet. And then let's get some dimensionals. We're going to add some dimensionals to the back of my Secret C circle and my jar as well. So put 2 up here to kind of reinforce that. Okay, and I think that's all we need as far as dimensionals go. Okay, and then on my Smoky Slate circle here, I'm going to add some seal to this. Okay, and let's get these paper backings off. Okay, and then I'm going to take my greeting piece here, and I'm going to add this right down here, like so. And then my Secret C piece is going to go right there. Okay, we can press that down. And then let's get the backings off of our jar. Okay, and then that will go right here on my Secret C piece. I'm trying to make sure that this is straight. So put that on there like so. And then for this one, I am going to bring in my Baker's Twine Essentials pack. This has very vanilla, basic black, crumb cake, white, and then this one here is gray granite, but it's close enough to the Smoky Slate, so it'll work on this one. Now I could have used white on there, but I kind of like this gray granite one. So I'll make another little bow with this. And just make these loops a little bit smaller. Okay. And then let me trim the tails here. Like so. Put this in thing, and we'll get my glue dots here. And let's get our bow on here. We'll kind of take our glue dot and kind of tuck it in the back here, so Not too much of it is exposed, and then your card's all sticky. And then I'll place that right there at the top. And then we got one more bit of embellishment. And let me check really quick because I think um it's gonna come up. Yes. So for my embellishment, I'm going to use the 2025 to 2027 in color flat pearls. It is currently unavailable. It is on back order, but let me see what it says as far as when it's coming back. So it is saying that it'll be back in stock the week of August 4th at the time of me filming this, which is on Monday. There could be a possibility that it could come back a little bit sooner, but sometimes it could take a little bit longer, sometimes it'll come quicker, but know that it is coming back and it'll be soon. I am going to, where did I put them? They're in here somewhere. Hold on a second, guys. Where is it? It should be in my, oh, there they are. They're right in front of me. So these are those dots. So they have these in not only this grouping of the in colors, but the in colors that will be retiring next year. These colors right here, they're the same. They got that softer pearlized iridescent look to them. They're really pretty. The thing with these that I like is that they're kind of low profile too, so they're not very bulky at all. So that's what I like about these. And like I said, they got like this iridescent pearlized sheen to them. So I really do like those. So for this card, I'm going to bring in the cloud cover ones. And with these, you got 3 different sizes on these. So I'm going to use one of each on this card. And there's our second one. And there we go. There is our second card. Whew, three videos in one night. That's a lot of work, people. That's a lot of standing on my feet too, because yeah, where I'm filming, I can't exactly put a stool or anything back here. So there is the second card. I really love the simplicity of this one. Of course, you can put a piece, you can even put cloud cover on the inside to stamp your greeting or write your greeting in as well. It's light enough that you can do that. So there is the second card. I really love the color combination. I think that, oh, we forgot something. We forgot something. We got one more little bit of bling to do. So let's add a little bit of Wink of Stella to our snow and to our snowman. Now I'm not worrying about being perfect and covering every single little bit, because what it'll do is it's going to start pulling up that color, and then our snowman will end up being blue rather than white. So we don't want to go too crazy on it. So there we go. We added a little bit of sparkle on there, if you can see it. I don't know if you can see it or not. Not really seeing it through my phone. Maybe I can see it on my laptop. But yeah, it's there. It's kind of subtle, but it's there. So there is our second card. Let me bring in my first card. This is our red and our crumb cake themed. I really like how everything lines up. This, I will tell you that don't feel intimidated by this. This is really easy to line up. Just really look at the bow tie, look at the buttons, and then everything else you can kind of see kind of lines up in the center of those cookies. So I love the embellishments. I love the red and white twine. So there are my projects for my monthly Christmas card inspiration for the month of August. So for September, September will probably be something out of the new holiday mini catalog that we will actually get to see as demonstrators next week. So I'm pretty stoked about seeing that because, like I said, the holiday mini catalog tends to be my downfall because I love fall, I love Christmas, I love crafting for both seasons, and so kind of looking forward to seeing that. And again, if you are not working with another demonstrator, if you are here in the US, and you know what? Well, yeah, I could say this. Being that it's August 1st that you're seeing this, the catalog mailing program where Stampin' Up! Would mail the catalog directly to you has closed. So the 31st of July was the last day for it, and I would have already gone ahead and placed my order for those. But I will be purchasing a couple of packages of the catalogs. So if you are here in the United States and you are not working with another demonstrator and you would like a copy of it, in the description is my email address. Simply send me an email. Now, if you end up clicking on the link that takes you to my Stampin' Up website where you can request on hosting a workshop, request a catalog, you can request it there too about becoming a demo, any questions you may have. There's a link to there, but then there's also just my email address, blues.city.stampin.studio@gmail.com. I know it's a long word, but I had to change the name last year, so that way I wasn't the same as a lot of other channels that were on here under the same name, but had to be different. So you can send me an email directly to my email address and just give me your full name and then your mailing address, and I will send one out. And if you would like to request a copy of the annual catalog, I can send that as well. Just let me know. I mean, it does cost a little more for me to physically go and mail it, but I'm totally okay with it because again, the period of time to request Stampin' Up! To send it has now passed. It was yesterday. So, thank you so much, everybody, for stopping by and watching this. And if you are watching this in the morning or, at some point during the day on Friday, August 1st, if you like the projects, come join us later on tonight at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. I will be featuring that fairly new suite that came out with our last grouping of online exclusive items. I will be featuring the Painterly Pears suite. As of right now, at the time that I'm recording this, like I said, it was on Monday. The paper to Painterly Pears is currently unorderable. It's on back order, and they are stating that it will be back in stock the week of August 11th. So not a lot of time before, it's back in stock. It's very pretty paper. Everything about that whole suite's really pretty. So when I do my Friday night lives, I do have a lovely bunch of ladies that are here that join me every Friday. As a matter of fact, a lot of them are already here and blowing up that chat box before I even hit go live. But we have a lot of fun, all positive, we leave the drama out and all that, and we just have a really wonderful time. And what I do is at the end of my live, I do a wheel of names, I do a drawing to choose three winners to get one of the cards that I made that night. So hope that you'll be able to join us. Again, that's 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, and I'll be using the Painterly Pears Suite Collection. Now, I have quite a few videos. I have like close to 270 videos out here on my YouTube channel. I do have separate playlists. I have Throwback Thursday, Friday Night Lives. I do have some in a special holiday folder, Paper Pumpkin, you name it. I have quite a few playlists out there with videos that I've done using Stampin' Up! Product. Uh, Feel free, go ahead and check them out. And if you like what you see and you want to see more, be sure to not only like the video, but go ahead and subscribe and then hit that notification bell, and it'll let you know when I post a video or when I go live. And all this, between the likes, the shares, the comments, this all helps in not only growing this channel, but then it also helps me in growing my Stampin' Up! Business too. And those likes, shares, and everything, comments, all that stuff, I truly appreciate it. Every little bit does help. So, hope to see you later on. So again, yes, I will be live at 7 p.m. tonight. So until then, everyone, wherever you may be, if it is really hot where you're at, like what it is here, please stay cool. And if you're living in any areas where you're dealing with severe weather, please stay safe. I just only wish this rain would come down here because we desperately do need it. So until then, everyone, have a blessed one. Bye bye.